Hello, and welcome to the third video for the online training modules for Odyssey Inclusive coaches. Before you attend a live training session, we ask that you complete all 5 brief modules that provide Odyssey Inclusive coaches with important information about the program before beginning your coaching journey. My name is Dr. Lynn Larson, and I am the program developer and director for Odyssey Inclusive. I'll be guiding you through the 5 modules, and I'm always available to answer any questions you may have. Each state hosting Odyssey Inclusive also has a program coordinator who will be your main point of contact this season. Style is a unique element in Odyssey of the Mind and Odyssey Inclusive that are required elements of the long-term solution and play performance. In Odyssey Inclusive, style categories have been chosen for the teams, with options for individuality and creativity within those categories. It's up to the team members to make these elements as creative as possible. As mentioned earlier, style is the unique wow effect of the team's performance. In the style category, there are 4 mandatory items on which the teams are scored throughout the long-term performance. The problem details describe these elements, which vary every year. Some examples of style categories could include creativity of a character's hairstyle, the creative use of a trash item in a prop, costume, or scenery, the creativity of a particular character's costume. The long-term problem details will explain the style categories required in each section. It is up to the team to address them as creatively as possible. When thinking about style, it's important to have your team members think about if the judges were to think about our solution a year from now, they would remember us as the team that did what? Style is both memorable and unique to your team's performance. Think about how we identify the styles of fashion designers, film directors, artists, musicians, and so on. Each has many different masterpieces, but all may share some common theme or style. While you may not know the title of a painting of an enlarged flower or New Mexico landscape, you would probably recognize it as a Georgia O'Keeffe painting. And while you may not know the title of a song, you may recognize the voice as Bruce Springsteen. Your team can think about these words, phrases, and questions as they consider how to individualize their style elements. What can make our style element unique? What is the wow factor? What don't we think any other team would have thought of? What are we the most proud of? What special talents can be shown in our style elements? Just as a reminder, style elements cannot be something that's already scored in the long-term problem scored categories. But style can be anything the team wishes in those 4 mandatory style categories. So how can we take style from common to creative? When it comes to style, teams can learn about what is considered common and what is considered more creative. Challenge the team with how they could incorporate some of the more creative style elements listed below. So some common things for costumes would be wearing street clothes, which are not altered in any way. A more creative approach would be to use unusual materials or materials used in unusual ways on their costumes. Scenery could be things, your scenery where you don't have any scenery, or it's very plain. Something that may make it more creative is adding some 3-dimensional elements to the scenery or making things pop out with different things like color and texture. Here are some examples of some amazing style elements from a team that went to World Finals. This is a piece of scenery that was made from a mattress box, and you can see that it has some 3-dimensional elements to it and lots of color and different types of elements. And it folded down partway during the performance to show the next scene for their performance. When your team is working on their paperwork, it's very helpful to be specific and detailed on the style form. Assume the judges don't know anything about how your team addressed the style elements. The judges will score what the team lists on their style form. The team members must fill out the style form as much as possible with assistance as appropriate. And we'll talk much more about paperwork at a webinar closer to tournament time. So This was a very short part of our training session, all about style. Again, those 4 style categories are already provided for teams, so it's up to your team to address each of those style categories as creatively as possible, focusing on creative elements that your team comes up with, talents, and other things that are appropriate. So, as always, you can reach out to your Odyssey Inclusive Program Coordinator for any questions. You can reach out to me at odyssey.inclusive@odysseyofthemind.com. We're going to have those live coach training sessions. Be sure to check out the 10-week coaching plan and the Odyssey Inclusive Coaching Passport and our website. So your next steps are to take the short quiz via Google Forms, linked on the written version of this section's materials. And then you're ready to move on to section 4, which is all about spontaneous. Thank you so much for coaching for Odyssey Inclusive.